I didn't realize a joke could change the way I saw myself forever. It started like any other lazy evening. We were sprawled across the couch, scrolling, teasing each other, daring one another the way couples do when they think they know every side of the person beside them. She was smiling in that dangerous way, eyes bright, lips hiding something. "I've got a prank idea," she said. I laughed. "You always say that." "This one's different," she replied. "A role swap. Just for fun. One night." I rolled my eyes, confident, careless. "Fine. Do your worst." Those were the words. An hour later I stood in front of our bedroom mirror, barefoot, heart light, still amused. She moved behind me, her hands gentle but deliberate, brushing my shoulders back. "Close your eyes," she said. I did, still smiling. I heard drawers opening. The soft click of containers. The faint smell of something floral in the air. Her fingers grazed my face, lighter than I expected. I felt brushes, powder, cool touches against my skin. "This is ridiculous," I muttered. "You're taking this way too seriously." She just laughed softly. "Almost done." When she finally said, "Oh, open them," I expected to laugh harder. Instead my breath caught. The mirror didn't show me. It showed her. Or someone who could be her. My face looked unfamiliar. Softer, smoother, almost delicate. My jawline wasn't sharp anymore. My lips looked fuller. My eyes. My God, my eyes looked expressive in a way I'd never seen before. Wide and bright, framed by lashes that fluttered when I blinked in confusion. I leaned closer to the mirror, heart slamming against my ribs. "No," I whispered. "That's not possible." I raised my hand. The reflection raised hers. My fingers brushed my cheek and I felt warmth there. Real skin, real sensation. My hair spilled forward, long and silky, sliding across my collarbone. It wasn't stiff or fake. It moved naturally, like it belonged there. "This is just makeup," I said again, louder this time, like saying it enough times would make it true. "Just lighting. Just tricks." But my body disagreed. I became aware of the clothes hugging me, fabric clinging to curves I didn't remember earning. The neckline felt vulnerable. The sleeves brushed my arms in a way that sent a strange shiver through me. Behind me she stepped into the frame, eyes wide, smiling. "Oh my God," she breathed. "You actually look like a girl." That word hit me straight in the chest. A girl. My throat tightened. My mind scrambled, searching for the right reaction. Anger, embarrassment, laughter, something normal. Instead, all I felt was heat creeping up my neck and into my face. I was blushing. Not pretending. Not playing along. Actually blushing. "This was supposed to be a prank," I said, my voice coming out softer, thinner than usual. I stopped mid-sentence, startled by how different I sounded. "You said role swap. Just for fun." She tilted her head, suddenly unsure. "You said I could go all in." I stared back at the mirror. The scariest part wasn't how convincing it looked. It wasn't how easily she'd done it. It was the feeling growing inside me. Furious. Confusion, definitely. But beneath all of that, curiosity. A quiet, dangerous curiosity that wrapped itself around my chest and whispered, "What if this isn't wrong?" I imagined someone else seeing me like this and my stomach flipped. I imagined walking outside and my knees felt weak. I imagined staying like this longer than a few minutes and my pulse raced. I should have wanted to wipe it all off. I should have demanded it stop. Instead, I stood there, unable to look away, staring at a version of myself I had never allowed to exist. In that moment, I understood something terrifying. This wasn't just a prank gone too far. This was the first crack in an identity I'd never questioned before. And once cracked, could never go back to the way it was. The next morning, reality didn't knock. It slammed. I woke up before my alarm, heart already racing, like my body knew something was wrong before my mind caught up. For a few seconds I lay still, staring at the ceiling, hoping, praying, that last night had been a dream. Then I felt it. My hair spilled across the pillow when I turned my head. The fabric against my skin wasn't my usual loose t-shirt. It was softer, lighter, unforgivingly unfamiliar. I sat up slowly. The mirror across the room reflected someone sitting on the edge of the bed with tense shoulders and wide, frightened eyes. Still her. Sophie. A wave of panic rose in my chest. "I have work," I whispered. The word felt heavy. Work meant cameras. Faces. Names. Expectations. A version of me that didn't look like this. She stirred beside me. You don't have to go like that, she said sleepily. We can stop. I promise. I looked at her, then back at the mirror. Stopping felt simple. Too simple. Because some part of me, quiet but stubborn, didn't want to erase her. Didn't want to pretend last night hadn't unlocked something. I'll just keep the camera off, I said, more to convince myself than her. I showered, trying not to look down, trying not to notice how different everything felt. The steam fogged the mirror and I was grateful for it. For a few minutes I could almost pretend I didn't exist. Almost. I dressed carefully. Neutral clothes. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that screamed look at me. My hands shook as I tied my hair back, my fingers unfamiliar with the motion. When I sat at my desk and opened my laptop, my inbox was already full. Meeting reminder. Camera required. My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen as the countdown ticked closer. 10 minutes. You can cancel, my mind screamed. You can lie. Instead, my finger hovered and clicked. The camera turned on. The silence was immediate. I watched faces register confusion in real time, eyebrows lifting, mouths parting slightly. Someone leaned closer to their screen. Another blinked hard, like they thought their connection was glitching. My manager said carefully. Is everything okay? Heat rushed to my face. I could feel it happening, the flush spreading, betraying me. I opened my mouth, then closed it again, suddenly aware of my voice, my posture, my hands folded too neatly in my lap. Yeah, I said softly. Too softly. I cleared my throat and tried again. Yeah. Everything's fine. No one laughed. No one joked. That somehow hurt more. The meeting dragged on, every second stretching. I answered questions. I nodded. I focused on breathing. All the while I could feel myself being seen. Really seen for the first time. When the call finally ended, I slammed my laptop shut and exhaled like I'd been underwater. I didn't realize I was shaking until she wrapped her arms around me. You were brave, she said quietly. I didn't feel brave, I replied. I felt naked. Texts started coming in. Some confused. Some awkwardly supportive. One friend asked, "Is this a phase or?" I didn't know how to answer. Later that day I went out to grab groceries. Just a quick run, I told myself. Hoodie. Sunglasses. Head down. The world felt louder. I felt eyes on me, real or imagined, I couldn't tell. My steps were shorter. My shoulders pulled inward. I caught my reflection in a store window and froze. A woman stared back. Not perfect. Not glamorous. My heart pounded as someone held the door open for me. After you, they said, smiling. I whispered thank you and walked past, pulse racing. Back home I locked the door behind me and slid down against it, breathing hard. I should have felt relief. Instead, beneath the fear, beneath the embarrassment, something else stirred. Pride. I had survived the day. And some part of me didn't want tomorrow to be different. That realization scared me more than anything else so far. That night, after the apartment finally went quiet, I realized something unsettling. I wasn't exhausted. I should have been. Emotionally wrung out. Embarrassed. Drained from pretending everything was fine. Instead, my body hummed with a restless energy, like I'd drunk too much coffee or crossed some invisible line I couldn't uncross. She was already asleep beside me, breathing slow and even. I lay there, staring into the darkness, replaying the day in my head. The stares, the silence, the way my heart had raced when someone called me ma'am at the store. You didn't correct them, a voice in my head whispered. I slipped out of bed quietly. The bathroom light clicked on, soft and warm. I stood there for a moment, barefoot on the cold tile, staring at my reflection like it might move without me. Still her. Still me. I leaned closer to the mirror, studying details I'd avoided all day. The curve of my lips. The way my eyes looked when I wasn't forcing them to be anything. The faint shadow of uncertainty that made me look vulnerable. My hand lifted slowly, almost cautiously, and brushed a strand of hair behind my ear. A shiver ran through me. This is just curiosity, I whispered. Anyone would be curious. I opened her makeup drawer with the care of someone touching something sacred. Everything was neatly arranged, familiar but forbidden. I remembered watching her do this, how natural it always looked, how effortless. It wasn't effortless. My first attempt was clumsy. Too much pressure. The wrong angle. I wiped it off, heart racing, then tried again. Each small success felt like unlocking a secret level in a game I'd never known existed. I practiced expressions, tilted my head, smiled, then frowned, then smiled again, this time softer, warmer. "That's different," I murmured. My voice startled me. I hadn't meant to sound like that. I tried again. Lower. Familiar. It didn't fit. When I let it rise naturally, it slid into place like it had been waiting. I laughed quietly, then slapped a hand over my mouth, shocked at myself. Since when does that feel right? I opened the closet. Her clothes hung there in quiet rows, fabrics catching the light. I hesitated, heart pounding, then reached out. The material was light, smooth, alive beneath my fingers. I changed slowly, deliberately. Each piece altered the way I stood, the way I breathed. My posture softened without effort. When I looked back at the mirror, something inside me clicked. I wasn't pretending. I was experimenting. I walked back and forth across the bathroom, feeling how the fabric moved with me. I practiced sitting, standing, turning. I caught myself swaying slightly, unconsciously. My chest tightened, not with fear but with recognition. "This is dangerous," I whispered. Because I liked it. I liked how careful I became. How aware. How present in my own body. I liked the way my reflection looked back at me. Not as a joke, not as a costume, but as a possibility. For the first time, I let myself imagine being seen like this on purpose. The thought made my stomach flip. I wiped everything off carefully, returned each item exactly where it belonged, and slipped back into bed. My heart was still racing as I stared at the ceiling, the darkness feeling heavier now. I hadn't crossed a line. I'd discovered it. And the scariest part? I couldn't wait to explore it again. The first time I stepped outside like that on purpose, it felt unreal. Not rushed. Not accidental. Not hidden behind excuses. Intentional. It was a Saturday morning, the kind where the world moves slower, where fewer eyes are out hunting for familiarity. I stood in the bedroom, sunlight spilling across the floor, heart racing as I adjusted my clothes one last time. "You don't have to," she said gently, leaning against the doorframe. "No teasing. No pushing." "I know," I replied. "That's why I did." The door closed behind us with a soft click, and suddenly the hallway felt longer than it ever had. Every step echoed. Every sound felt louder. My posture was different. More careful, more aware, but not forced. Outside, the air felt cooler against my skin. I took a breath and kept walking. At first, I couldn't stop scanning faces. I was hyper-aware of everything. My hands, my steps, the way my hair moved when I turned my head. I expected whispers. Laughter. Someone calling me out. None of it came. Instead, life just happened. A woman smiled as she passed us. A man nodded politely. Someone held the elevator door open. Normal. Each small moment stacked on top of the last, quietly rewriting the fear in my chest. My shoulders lowered without me noticing. My steps became smoother. I stopped clinging to her arm and started walking beside her instead. At a cafe, I ordered for myself. My voice wavered at first, then steadied. The barista didn't blink. Just asked for my name. I almost panicked. Then I said one. It wasn't planned. This came out. She wrote it on the cup and slid it across the counter with a smile. Something warm bloomed in my chest. Later, walking through a park, I caught my reflection in a window again, but this time I didn't freeze. I stopped. I saw nerves, yes, but I also saw confidence forming. I wasn't hiding anymore. I wasn't bracing for impact. I was existing. By the time we got home, I was exhausted, but lighter. Like I'd been carrying something heavy my whole life without realizing it and had finally set it down. That night, lying in bed, I whispered, "I don't think I want to stop." He squeezed my hand. "Then don't." And for the first time, that didn't sound terrifying. Sounded like permission. It hit me out of nowhere. A knock on the door. My heart jumped. My stomach twisted. "HR meeting," my manager said, eyes careful but not unkind. Yow. I froze. This wasn't a prank anymore. This wasn't a weekend experiment. This was real life. My reflection, my voice, my posture, they'd all be seen. Really seen, by people whose opinions mattered, by people whose judgment I feared. I felt my fingers shake as I straightened the cardigan I'd chosen. My chest tightened. I wanted to run. I wanted to hide. But the truth, the strange, thrilling truth, was that I didn't want to. I walked in. The room was quiet. Sterile. Chairs and a table. 3 faces, all professional, all watching. Sit, one of them said. I obeyed, trembling. They waited. And waited. My throat felt raw as I tried to form words. My mind screamed, say something. Apologize. Explain. Run. Finally I whispered. I wanted to be honest. There was. My voice, slightly higher, softer but steady. Enough. They blinked. Then one of them smiled gently. We appreciate that, she said. Tell us what you need. My chest felt like it could explode. Relief. Fear. Shame. Pride. All tangled in one. I want to be me, I said. Fully. For a moment, silence. Then understanding. Acceptance. Support. Words I hadn't thought I'd hear in this context. It washed over me, surreal, like stepping into sunlight after a lifetime in shadows. That night I walked home, every step heavy with adrenaline and light with relief. I realized something crucial. This wasn't about anyone else's acceptance. It was about mine. For the first time I felt the possibility of being unashamed, unhidden, authentic. I could choose to go back, hide, pretend, erase the past few weeks. Or I could step forward. I didn't hesitate. The days that followed felt like waking up from a long, gray fog. I didn't just survive being seen, I thrived. Every morning I chose myself. Every mirror glance was no longer a test of courage. It was a quiet celebration. I learned the rhythm of my body, the way my hair fell, how the curve of a smile could carry warmth and strength at the same time. My girlfriend became my anchor, my cheerleader, my safe place. She never forced anything, but she encouraged every small step. A coffee run became a small adventure. A walk in the park became a runway. I experimented with outfits, with makeup, with posture, with voice. Each day adding layers to who I was becoming, not who I had been. Friends, colleagues, and family noticed. Some hesitated, but most adjusted. I explained, softly, patiently, letting them see the person I truly was. Every smile of acknowledgement, every supportive text, every hesitant but kind word became a brick in the foundation of my confidence. One evening I found myself laughing in a cafe, completely at ease. A stranger complimented my style, and for the first time I didn't flinch. I smiled genuinely, feeling seen, not judged. I realized I didn't need to hide behind excuses, behind the prank label, behind the old version of me. I had stepped fully into who I wanted to be. There was power in that realization. Power in self-acceptance. Power in choosing authenticity over fear. Power in letting curiosity and courage guide me. And as empowering as it was to see myself in the mirror, it was even more powerful to see the world reflect me back. Not as a mistake, not as a joke, but as a person worthy of recognition, respect, and love. I wasn't just a person who had been pranked. I was someone reborn, someone free, someone who had discovered a side of themselves they never dared to imagine. Looking back, I realized the prank wasn't the start of my journey. It was the spark. It showed me that sometimes the fear of being seen keeps us from discovering who we truly are. It taught me that curiosity can lead to courage, and courage can lead to authenticity. Now, when I look in the mirror, I don't see just a reflection. I see a story of transformation, of self-discovery, and of empowerment. If my journey teaches anything, it's this. The bravest thing you can do is embrace yourself even when the world, or even you, doubts it. Authenticity isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. And for me, I finally feel whole.